discuss Chapter 3, the cardiorespiratory system. This is made up of two related systems, the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. The cardiovascular system consists of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. The respiratory includes the trachea, bronchi, alveoli, and lungs. These two systems work interdependently to deliver oxygen to tissues of the body and to remove waste from tissues of the body. For the purpose of this class, we're just going to focus on what you need to know for the test. Let's start with the basic structure of the heart. You can see a visual of this in your book, figure 3.3 of your textbook. And the heart is made up of four hollow chambers, the left and right atrium, the left and right ventricle, and I always remember that the atrium chambers are located at the top by keeping it in alphabetical order. So the A in atrium comes before the V in ventricle. As we move through the textbook, it will be important to understand the roles of each of these chambers and know where they are located. Oxygenated blood moves into the left atrium and down into the left ventricle, where it is then pumped to the rest of the body. The right atrium receives the deoxygenated blood from the rest of the body and then moves it to the right ventricle and then to the lungs, where it can be reoxygenated and returned to the heart for continuous pumping. Now that we're familiar with the basic structure of the heart, let's review the basic functions of the heart. First, let's start with stroke volume. This is the total amount of blood that is pumped out of the heart with each contraction. The average stroke volume for an adult is about 77 milliliters. The heart rate is the rate at which the heart beats. An average adult heart rate is 70 to 80 beats per minute. And then finally, we have the cardiac output, which is the volume of blood pumped by the heart per minute. And this can be found by taking the heart and heart rate and multiplying it by the stroke volume. Now let's talk a little bit about the function of the blood in our bodies. This is also summarized in your textbook in Table 3.1 called Support Mechanisms of the Blood. Blood has three functions in our body. The first is transportation. Transportation includes transporting oxygen and nutrients to all the tissues in our body. It also takes waste products out of our tissues and transports hormones to organs and tissues, and then lastly, carries heat throughout our body. The second function of blood within the body is regulation. Regulation of our temperature and acid. Finally, our blood serves as protection. It protects us by preventing excessive bleeding, by creating blood clots and open wounds, and it also contains specialized immune cells that helps us fight off disease and sickness. Now that we've discussed the primary components of the cardiovascular system, the second system to address is the respiratory system. This system is responsible for bringing oxygen into the lungs and removing carbon dioxide from the lungs. This is accomplished, quite simply, by breathing. When we think of normal breathing, which is probably what you're doing right now, when it's quiet and natural, it utilizes only the diaphragm and the external intercostals. Now, there's also deep forced breathing, which is usually induced in stressful situations, either physically, mentally, or emotionally. During forced breathing, additional muscles are recruited, such as the scalenes and the pectoralis minor. Deep forced breathing, also known as dysfunctional breathing, can be accompanied by unpleasant side effects such as headaches and anxiety. Together, the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system make up the cardiorespiratory system. These systems are always required to either perform or recover from physical activity. Further information on how to challenge and train the cardiorespiratory system will come in later presentations. However, thank you for taking the time to watch this video on the function and structure of the cardiorespiratory system.